How can you get on Tiana's Bayou adventure with the shortest wait possible? Which Magic Kingdom rides are better to prioritize in the morning versus which ones are better at night? And how many Magic Kingdom rides are holding secrets that could make your ride through 10 times better? We are stocking you up with all the Magic Kingdom ride hacks that actually work today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and today I've got my nifty little DFB hat with me, filled with slips of paper that feature every single Magic Kingdom ride. At random, I'm going to pull one of these slips out of the hat, and the team and I will be tasked with the challenge of coming up with one awesome ride hack that we use for that particular Magic Kingdom attraction. Sounds fun and useful? Great, that's what we're going for. So let's go ahead and pull out our first ride. Whoa, the newest ride on property. What are the odds we drew that first? Hey, it was totally the hat's decision, not mine. Now, Tiana's Bayou adventure opened last summer with the virtual queue, meaning there was no regular standby line available at the time. But on February 25th of this year, Tiana got rid of her virtual queue, so now the standby is alive and well. For some, this is awesome. It means less stressing over getting a virtual queue via the My Disney Experience app on the day of your visit. But for others, a standby queue can feel cringy since it could mean a longer physical wait for your whole crew. So how do you try to cut that wait time down? Easy. You rope drop it. Wait, just rope drop, AJ? Why not use that early theme park entry benefit available for all Disney World guests and get in line for this one 30 minutes before rope drop even happens? Well, that would be a solid idea if you were allowed to do it. Unfortunately, only a limited amount of rides in Magic Kingdom are open during early theme park entry, and those rides are going to be the ones over in Fantasyland and a selection of them in Tomorrowland, not including Tron Lightcycle Run, which we're going to talk about later on. Here's to hoping we draw Tron out of our DFB hat next. Now, just to let you visualize what is open during early theme park entry, I'll put that full list of eligible rides up on the screen for you. Still a rather hearty list of options, but no Tiana's Bayou adventure in sight. The good news for all of you who are planning to stay off Disney property for your upcoming trip is that the playing field for getting in Tiana's line is going to be even. It might even play to your advantage. While early theme park entry guests will flock toward rides that are open, this means when rope drop happens, the guests that had a 30-minute head start on their day will already be in line for those other Fantasyland and Tomorrowland rides. So you can make a beeline, walk, don't run, toward the back of the park just as soon as you're able to get into line for Tiana's. Even if you don't have early theme park entry, still plan to arrive at the Magic Kingdom front gates as early as possible so you can be as close to one of those turnstiles when the park floodgates open. Remember, sometimes Disney opens those gates 15 minutes, 20 minutes early. So if I'm rope dropping, I always try to be there about 45 minutes to an hour before park opening time. Also keep in mind that if you don't want to wake up super early and deal with the crowds whatsoever, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is available as a multi-pass Lightning Lane selection, which is part of Disney's pay to skip the ride line service. If you decide to go the Lightning Lane route, you will want to select a Lightning Lane for Tiana's before your visit instead of waiting until the last second. Those who are staying off property will be able to make up to 3 multi-pass Lightning Lane selections 3 days before their visit, while guests staying on site and at a Disney-owned hotel will be able to make up to 3 Lightning Lane pre-selections 7 days before their hotel check-in day. Lightning Lanes for Tiana's Bayou Adventure always go fast, so if this ride's a priority for you to skip the line for, then secure that Lightning Lane first, as soon as your Lightning Lane options open. All right, what's coming out of the hat next is Barnstormer. Not Tron yet, but I still think we've got an important Barnstormer tip for you that'll especially come in handy for all the parents out there. If you're taking your kid to Disney for the first time and they've never, ever ridden a roller coaster before, Barnstormer over in Fantasyland is a great one to start with. Not only is Barnstormer a super short coaster ride, it's literally less than a minute long, but it's also not a very fast coaster, only ever reaching speeds up to 25 miles per hour. Fun fact, Barnstormer and Space Mountain go the same speed. Yep, Space Mountain goes just 2 miles per hour faster, which is wild for me to wrap my mind around because Space Mountain feels so much faster due to its sharp turns and little drops and near complete darkness. But I'm not jumping ahead to Space Mountain yet. I've got to draw that one out of the hat first, so back to Barnstormer. Now, Barnstormer is a super low stakes ride overall, and while some may not prioritize it, I'd recommend parents of youngins putting this ride at the top of their list just to ease their kids into the idea that coasters aren't scary. They're fun. Next out of the hat is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. If you want to earn Galactic Hero status the next time you ride Space Ranger Spin, then this could be the most important section in the whole video for you. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin in Tomorrowland will have you blasting targets to earn points during your ride. And while your main goal might be trying to have the highest score among your group, you can take that goal one step further and earn a Galactic Hero rank. But in order to do that, you're going to need to know which targets specifically will give you the most points. And we've got that list of targets right here for you today. Don't worry about writing these down. We've got this full list as well as other tips on how to win the rides at Disney already typed out for you. Just scan the QR code you see on the screen now, or if you're watching this on your phone, head to disneyfoodblog.com/ride-hacks after this. We're going to send you our winning games at Disney World guide for free. Okay, now back to the subject at hand, making Buzz Lightyear proud. The first high-scoring target of the ride is located in the first room you enter. Yep, we're talking about that giant robot. Trust me, you can't miss him. Aim for the targets inside his arms to earn 100,000 points. Target number 2 can be found when you're going through the Star Tunnel. Try to hit the body of the spaceship for another 100,000 points. And target number 3 is on Zurg's ship. There's a target on the bottom of his ship that you'll want to hit that's worth 100,000 points as well. Don't forget to keep shooting these targets to keep collecting points. Just hold down on the blaster trigger. Don't stop aiming. Sometimes a slight ride delay can do your score wonders too. So if your vehicle has to stop moving for whatever reason, don't stop blasting. You just got more time to keep on improving your score, so don't squander that. There are a ton of different strategies out there to help improve your Space Ranger Spin score, but if you do reach the ranks of Galactic Hero, don't forget to pick up your Galactic Hero sticker from a cast member in the gift shop at the exit. You can either wear that sticker for the rest of the day to let everyone know how awesome you are, or you can preserve it and frame this major reward when you get home. Ooh, now this is a good draw. 7 Dwarfs Mine Train. Now, this is a notorious one for its long lines. That's why many folks who have that early theme park entry privilege, they're going to head to this coaster first. And that's not a bad strategy, not in the slightest. But another good way to bypass the chunk of this ride standby line is to prioritize this one in the evening, either right before the Happily Ever After fireworks show or immediately after. I know, blasphemous to even think about missing the Magic Kingdom fireworks, but a nighttime ride on 7 Dwarfs Mine Train tends to be the preferred strategy of the DFB team. Not only do the nighttime vibes make this outdoor coaster feel faster, but it makes the Diamond Cave effects more vibrant too. Plus, ride lines tend to die down toward the end of the night anyways, while everyone else is making a mad dash to the park's exit. Gotta get ahead of those bus, monorail, and ferry lines, right? Because they are killers. Another bonus for waiting to ride this one at night, the queue line isn't nearly as boiling to wait in. While a section of this queue does take place in a covered area, the majority of it wraps around outside, and that can get sweltering after a while, especially in the middle of the day in the middle of the summer. So waiting in line for 7 Dwarfs Mine Train at night is shorter and less likely to make you feel like the sun is grilling your skin and ready to serve you with a side of chips. If this is a priority ride for your group and you don't want to gamble on how long the lines are going to get for it, you can always purchase a single pass lightning lane if you'd prefer. Single passes are different from multi-passes since single pass lightning lanes work in a more a la carte fashion where you can pay to skip the line for one premium ride instead of paying to skip the lines for a bunch of them throughout the day. You can make up to 2 single pass purchases for each day, which is great considering 7 Dwarfs Mine Train and Tron both have single passes available. Still crossing my fingers about Tron that it pops up for us soon. I'm ready to talk about it. Nope, no luck, Chuck. Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Now, this is less of a ride hack and more of a queue hack, and that's because Dumbo has the rare situation where your kid might prefer the ride line versus the ride itself. Dumbo is the only ride on Disney World property that has a full-on play place under its big top where kids can play and climb and kill time while waiting for their turn to ride their own flying elephant. Parents and guardians will be handed a pager, much like you get when you're waiting for a table to open up at a restaurant, and when it's your group's turn to ride the ride, the pager will go off, letting you know it's time to call little Johnny back over from the ropes and bridges and other interactive elements around this queue. If your kiddo would prefer to just go to the big top and not ride Dumbo, they're more than welcome to do that too. There are exits near the tent where your group can come and go as you please, no pagers necessary. That way, kids can have some Disney fun without waiting in another long line for a ride, and parents can use this time to sit and take a breather in an air-conditioned building. Yes, finally, Tron, we've been waiting for you. Okay, what kind of ride hack do we want to give you about this high-speed launch coaster? My knee-jerk response here is to tell you to wait and ride Tron at night so you can see that overhead canopy ignite with light as you race into your battle against Team Orange. But that's not necessarily a hack so much as it is a preference on my part. So instead I'm going to say ride Tron at night because it could also cut down on your wait time. Remember what I said earlier about Tron, how it's not open during early theme park entry? Well, I don't think I'd necessarily default to rope dropping this ride either, just because you'll miss those nighttime effects and we've got other rides we want to accomplish in the morning, like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, right? Right. Yes, we can always secure a single pass lightning lane for this ride if we want to avoid the lines altogether, but that will cost us extra money per person per ride through. So just waiting until the end of the night to get on this coaster might be your best option. Now, don't get me wrong. Other people are also going to want to be in line for this ride at night too. Everybody knows it's better at night. So the lines for it might not be as short as some of the others that you'll encounter when you're getting close to the end of the park day. However, keep in mind that if you jump in line for an attraction just before park close, we're talking even if you only have 10 to 15 minutes to spare, you'll still get to ride this ride unless something breaks down, which has to be a gamble you're willing to take if you choose to try this last minute strategy. Now, let's say you're about to get in line for Tron 10 minutes before the park closes, but the wait is still set at 60 minutes. There are a couple of things you need to remember here. First off, yes, this means you will be riding this ride after the park closes. As long as you can enter into the queue before it closes off for the night, you'll still be golden. And secondly, the wait time you're seeing may not even be accurate. At the end of the night, wait times are often projected a bit higher than they really are. So not only will you get on the ride, but you'll also probably be waiting in a shorter line to do so. Okay, what tips can I give you for the classic Liberty Square dark ride Haunted Mansion that the hat just gave us? How about one to help make your kid a little less traumatized by the whole experience? Haunted Mansion might be a ride for all ages, but that doesn't mean things can't get downright spooky here, especially the stretching room pre-show you'll encounter before you board your Doom buggy, which can be the scariest part of all, for reasons that I'm not going to get into today, because that'd be pretty morbid for a family-friendly DFB video. If you'd rather pass this room and avoid the potential meltdown from your child, ask a cast member and they can direct you around the pre-show area. Easy as that. We've gotten to It's a Small World, bless its heart. I'm going to use the happiest little cruise that ever sailed to show you how you can use throwaway lightning lanes to your advantage during your Magic Kingdom day. Before diving into this hack, let's talk a little, not a lot, just a little, about multi-pass tiers. If you're planning a Disney World trip with Lightning Lane Multipass, Magic Kingdom is one of the parks where the rides that you can pre-select are divided into two sections or two tiers. You can only pre-select one ride from Tier 1, but you can pre-select two rides or all three rides from Tier 2 if you want. Tiers only exist when you're pre-selecting lightning lanes. Once you're in the parks, they disappear, giving you the freedom to book whatever's still available after you use one of the lightning lanes that you're currently holding. You're allowed to hold up to 3 multi-pass selections at a time. You with me? Good. Okay, when you're pre-selecting your rides, you'll notice which ones have the earliest return times still available. Usually the rides that still have the earliest availability will be the Tier 2 rides that don't really need lightning lanes anyways, so it's like It's a Small World, for instance. Go ahead and book whatever ride has the earliest return time, even if you know you don't really need it. Why would we do that? Let's see how this plays out. If I pre-select It's a Small World because it has a return time of 9 a.m., I can use this lightning lane first thing during my Magic Kingdom day and immediately have the ability to snag a new lightning lane, a Tier 1 ride, before I even make it onto the ride. And because we're now inside Magic Kingdom, we can book any lightning lane we see available. All the tier restrictions are gone, meaning you'll be able to snag another lightning lane that was originally listed as a Tier 1 option, subject to availability. Tier 1 rides include Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan's Flight, Space Mountain, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Whew, okay, that was a lot. Sorry. Okay, we're going to go on Jungle Cruise. We're going to chill out. Jungle Cruise can be a pretty popular Magic Kingdom ride too, but if we're reserving Tiana's Bayou Adventure for rope drop and we're waiting to ride Tron till the end of the night, are we just doomed to have to stand in a ginormous line for Jungle Cruise if we're not planning on using multi-pass? No, not necessarily. You can always get in line for this attraction before or around one of the Festival of Fantasy parade showings when lots of guests take to the streets to wave at the princesses and the giant Maleficent dragon versus standing in line for more rides. If Festival of Fantasy has 2 showings that day, even better. You can use that first showtime to get in the ride on Jungle Cruise, when Festival of Fantasy usually has the highest crowds anyways, and then you can actually see the parade when it happens later on in the day, when crowds will be relatively low since so many folks will have already seen it and they'll go home to make their kids nap or whatever. You can check on updated Festival of Fantasy showtimes via your My Disney Experience app on the day of your visit. Mad Tea Party is tricky to find a ride hack for. The lines for it are rarely super long and the concept's pretty straightforward. You sit in a giant teacup and you spin around. Not really rocket science, but I can tell you about a little tip we've gotten from a cast member before. Our friends over at All Ears tend to use it a lot. Apparently, out of all the Mad Tea Party cups, number 11 is supposedly the fastest spinner of the bunch. If you want to find this cup and test out that theory yourself, be on the lookout for a green colored cup with a tiny 11 on the inside portion of the door. I think it's about time we put that early theme park entry to good use once and for all. As a recap, remember that you've only got 2 lands that you can access with your extra 30-minute privilege, Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. Fantasyland tends to be my flavor of choice here, unless I'm really wanting to get on Space Mountain as soon as possible, because you can knock out a lot of rides back to back in Fantasyland, all right next to each other. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train doesn't count though. If you get in line for this one first, that's it. That's where you're going to spend the first part of your morning. If you want to choose a Fantasyland ride where the ride is typically super busy during normal park hours and it'll still give you the chance to hop into a few other nearby rides before the crowds start piling on in, Peter Pan's Flight is a good ride to start with. After Peter, you can jump in line for a few other nearby attractions like It's a Small World and Haunted Mansion if you turn left after you exit, or Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid, and The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh if you turn right after you exit. The Magic Carpets of Aladdin might not be my favorite ride to hit up at the beginning of the day, but it could be yours for this very special reason. It seems that Aladdin and Jasmine enjoy showing up at this ride around Magic Kingdom's morning hours to take flight on their very own magic carpet, just like in the movie. Would I choose this potential magical moment over getting a shorter wait time at Tiana's Bayou adventure? No. But if you're traveling with a lot of younger kids who may not be able to ride Tiana's log flume just yet, then this Magic Carpets gamble could be a fun morning alternative. Even if you don't catch them riding on the carpets, they don't do it every single morning. Aladdin and Jasmine still make regular meet and greet appearances over at the Adventureland Marketplace area close by the ride. Check your My Disney Experience app on the day of your visit for updated times. It's about time I drew Space Mountain out of the DFB hat because I need to tell you about the best seat on this ride for younger and older riders alike. Space Mountain can be real intimidating for younger riders. Remember our Barnstormer conversation? Sure, Space Mountain is technically only 2 miles faster than the Goofy-themed junior coaster, but it feels a whole lot faster and more intimidating than that because the coaster takes place in near complete darkness. Not only that, but you'll be riding in single file fashion, so your nervous kiddo isn't going to have someone right next to them that they can hold on to if they start getting too frightened during the ride, unlike Disneyland's version of Space Mountain. But that's a conversation for another day. To make the experience a little less scary for your kid, try sitting them in either the middle or the back seat instead of the very front. Remember, this ride takes place in near complete darkness, but not full complete darkness unless you're riding during the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween overlay. Again, another story for another day. That's really scary. So if your kiddo is placed in the middle or back seats, they'll still be able to see at least a shadow of you in front of them to know they're not alone hurtling through space. Now, as an adult who might be more prone to backaches and cricks in the neck, sitting as close to the front of this ride as possible is going to be your best seat option. Space Mountain might only be a 27-mile-per-hour ride, but that's still fast enough to make those turns whip you around the corner, and when you can't see the track up ahead, it's hard to prepare yourself for suddenly being jolted up, down, left, or right. Sitting in the front seat of Space Mountain will not only help you at least see a faint outline of the track when your eyes adjust to the darkness, but just as a general rule of thumb for roller coasters everywhere, sitting toward the front of the ride means you're not going to get the brunt of the acceleration after the first half of the ride vehicle goes speeding down the track, which is what's going to happen to the back cars, causing the ride to feel faster, but a lot bumpier too. Cast members may be tasked with assigning you to a row, not giving you much choice in the matter, but you can always try asking the CMs if it's at all possible for you to wait for the next vehicle so you can sit closer to the front. While it's not always possible for cast members to do this, they usually try to accommodate you, but you'll never know unless you ask. Aw, Winnie the Pooh, you are a fickle ride to pin down, my friend. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh doesn't always have wait times that you need to worry about, but it can have pretty intimidating waits, especially toward the middle of the afternoon. This is a ride where the My Disney Experience app's forecasted wait times could come in handy for you. If you go to the attractions and shows portion of the tip board via your My Disney Experience app, you can find forecasted wait times for all of the rides. Select the ride you're interested in and check out the middle portion of its page where it says right there, clear as day, forecasted wait today. Now keep in mind that these aren't going to be the exact calculations for when a ride's wait times will dip and peak, but they could give you a sense of when or if a ride's wait times will drop off later in the day. Also, don't forget to frequently look at those average wait times for the rides leading up to your vacation too. This can help you get a sense of just how long you may have to wait for your favorite attractions on average. It's easy to do. You're sitting in the drop-off line or the pickup line at school. You just open the My Disney Experience app and you can go check and see what the wait times are at that time of day and get a vibe for what to expect when you're in Disney World, like next week or next month or whenever you're planning. Aha! I have been waiting to share this Pirates of the Caribbean tip with y'all for a while now. So as of late, the DFB team has been making nighttime rides on Pirates of the Caribbean more of a priority. Specifically, they go right after Happily Ever After. Not only is the nighttime lighting and ambiance just perfecto in Adventureland at night, but if you position yourself near Adventureland when watching the fireworks, you can typically get onto Pirates pretty quickly right after the show wraps up and avoid a long wait time for it. Depending on the time of year that you'll be heading to Magic Kingdom, the park might remain open an extra hour or two after the fireworks shoot off. So don't let the conclusion of Happily Ever After fool you into thinking that it's time to leave the park if you're still not done making your rounds around the attractions. Check the My Disney Experience app, look over the park times, and plan out your day and nighttime rides accordingly. You may have a couple of hours left to play even after the fireworks when everybody else is leaving. Ooh, an interesting ride to draw out of the hat. Is there really a way to hack a carousel? Well, it depends. Do you want to ride a special, unique, one-of-a-kind horse? If your answer is yes, absolutely, why wouldn't I? Then be on the lookout for the horse with the golden bow tied around its tail. According to legend, this is Cinderella's personal steed. Now hold up, why isn't this carousel Cinderella's? Why does it belong to the prince? There's actually an interesting story behind all that. When Magic Kingdom first opened, the carousel actually was called Cinderella's Golden Carousel. The prince took over in 2010 to give this carousel a new backstory. Again, according to the legend, once Cinderella and the prince got hitched and moved into the castle together, the prince suddenly had some extra time on his hands, so he constructed a mechanical horse machine to practice his jousting by hooking golden rings on a lance. Usually when I have extra time on my hands, I turn to antique shows or British history podcasts, but building giant horse machines for jousting practice works too. Retrieving gold rings from the outermost poles as you spin around a carousel is a very old classic carousel game. Alas, Disney World's carousel has no golden rings, so feel free to leave your lances back home. Oh, yay. As the self-appointed president of the PeopleMover fan club, I decree that your ride hack for this lovely attraction is simply to just keep riding the PeopleMover over and over again and never get off, ever. Hashtag PeopleMover fan club. I'm only kidding, partially, not really. If someone asked me to join them in Magic Kingdom for a PeopleMover marathon, I might cry. So here's the big question for AJ, the PeopleMover president. When's my favorite time of day to ride this ride? The easiest answer is anytime, but really, I think this ride is most fun to hit up during Happily Ever After, just to get a unique glimpse of the fireworks as they go off. Would I recommend this ride strategy to someone who's never seen the Happily Ever After fireworks before? No, but if you have seen them and you're looking for a new angle to appreciate them, I really don't know a better place than the PeopleMover. This PeopleMover meeting is adjourned. Now, the best hack I can give you for Tomorrowland Speedway, don't waste your time waiting too long for Tomorrowland Speedway. While Magic Kingdom tends to be the busiest park out of all 4 parks, you can still find B-tier rides here that you typically don't have to wait too long in line for. Usually, these rides range around a 10 to 20 minute wait, if that, on a lower average crowd level day. These B-tier rides include It's a Small World, Mad Tea Party, The Magic Carpets of Aladdin, PeopleMover, Prince Charming Regal Carousel, Tomorrowland Speedway, and Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid. If for some reason you open the My Disney Experience app and you see the current wait time for one of these rides sitting at a 30+ minute wait, Don't get in line for it just yet. There's a 99.99999% chance that wait time is going to drop down. And for some reason, it's seeing abnormally high crowds at the moment. Who knows? Maybe one of the rides next to it went down or something. Now, this is another example of when those forecasted wait times for rides can come in handy. Tap on the ride you're curious about, and the My Disney Experience app should have a prediction for when the lines will chill out again. Bonus secret though, over at the Tomorrowland Speedway, you can get a custom Tomorrowland Speedway license over at the photo booth right outside the attraction for around $7. And this booth isn't always open and operational, but when it is, it's a cute and unique souvenir that won't break your merchandise budget. Okay, Astro Orbiter flies high above Tomorrowland, giving you either incredible or incredibly frightening views of the park, depending on your tolerance for heights. This one can get long lines, despite not being the most thrilling or popular ride in the park, simply because you need to take an elevator up to and down from the ride, which can add a whole lot of extra time when boarding and disembarking. Aside from trying to time your ride when the lines aren't super long, my biggest ride hack here is to consider how close you and your family are before you try to squeeze into those rockets. Each rocket holds, quote, 2 to 3 people, unquote, but you got one big seatbelt and probably one of the most awkward ride vehicles to get in and out of. Plus, you'll be seated in a row with your legs around each other. So even if your family is close, they may not want to be physically that close. Oh, and Astro Orbiter is a great ride to try to time out with the fireworks for a really unique view of the show. By the way, if I'm ever riding Astro Orbiter with you, you're getting your own rocket. I ride alone. Moving over to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, the wildest ride in the wilderness. This is another one of those coasters where changing your seat can change the whole ride. The very front of this coaster is very tame and kind of just chugs down the hills, picking up a little speed throughout. But if you ride in the back, you're going to catch some air time and hit some of those drops with an impressive speed. Okay, maybe only 36 miles per hour, but it sure does seem fast. Oh, and an incredibly odd hack for this ride. There was actually a study done that Big Thunder Mountain can help you pass your kidney stones. Now, if you have a kidney stone and whether you feel up for riding a roller coaster is a whole other story, but now you know. So the Liberty Square Riverboat, this scenic boat ride around Tom Sawyer Island, won't be around forever, with Cars Land slated to take over the space. So my biggest hack would be to ride this one before you can't. This 20-minute boat ride might not be anything groundbreaking, but you do get to see some new vantage points of the park that you can't see from anywhere else. Plus, there's a little indoor room on the second floor of the boat that offers some shade and comfy seats if you need a quick moment to rest your eyes. Now, it's really compelling to me that you're never going to be able to get these views again, so go ride the Liberty Square Riverboat. So if you want to ride the Main Street vehicles, they're free-moving, old-timey cars, and you'll want to plan to be on Main Street early. The vehicles stop running by late morning or early afternoon, so they're not combating crowds and the parade. But if you happen to find yourself at the front of Main Street when one of these pulls up, you'll get a VIP ride straight to the castle. Now, is this one a ride or a mode of transportation? It's the best of both, the Walt Disney World Railroad. With 3 stops, Main Street, Frontierland, and Fantasyland, the railroad itself is your hack to save some steps and get where you need to go without having to traverse the crowds of the park. You may want to give yourself time to make the full loop around the park so that you can see and hear, there's full narration throughout the ride, everything this has to offer, though you can definitely just use one segment at a time to hop from Tiana's Bayou Adventure over to Barnstormer. Okay, an attraction that toes the line between ride and show, but you are moving as you rotate through the century, and that means we've got some hacks for Carousel of Progress. Now, one big thing to note is that once you enter the Carousel of Progress, you are in for the full duration of the show, about 20 minutes. So while it's a great place for a grown-up to nap, it might not be where you want to take your sleepy kiddo who might need a quick escape. As you watch this animatronic show that details some of the major changes and innovations to the American household since 1900, keep an eye out for some really neat hidden details. You'll spot quite a few hidden Mickeys, including some salt and pepper shakers in the final scene of the show. And in the very first scene, that robin outside the window is actually famous. It was in Mary Poppins. Instead of giving you a hack for Under the Sea Journey of Little Mermaid, I'm going to talk about my favorite secret on this ride that only a handful of Magic Kingdom guests will ever get the chance to see. Inside the Journey of the Little Mermaid queue, you can find a hidden Mickey and Minnie that only appear once every year on November 18th, which just so happens to be Mickey and Minnie's birthday. So where inside the queue will you be able to find these mysterious Mickey Minnie tricks of the light? Once you get past the fully outdoor portion of the queue, you'll need to get underneath the rocky ceiling and be on the lookout for a shape up above that kind of looks like Mickey's head. More than likely, there'll be lots of other people hovering around this area on November 18th waiting for the big reveal, so it's not hard to find. And it probably won't be as hard to track down as you think. The image comes and goes pretty quickly, but around 12 p.m. Eastern, it should be in full force as long as it's sunny out. You can watch as the lighting begins to line up with the amazing Imagineering design of the queue to create those silhouette heads of Mickey and Minnie across the wall. It's very cool, but again, has to be sunny, so check the weather report. Our DFB hat is empty and the ride hacks have all been revealed. Well, not all of them. We've still got plenty more Disney World ride hacks that we'd love to share with you. So if you want to keep the good times rolling and the secrets exposed, be sure to check out our Hollywood Studios ride hacks that really work video next. And don't forget to download our free Winning Games on Disney World Rides guide over at disneyfoodblog.com/ride hacks. Now, thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ, your PeopleMover fan club president from Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.